Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am not here with Geeky Sparkles. I'm going to talk about this social media ban in Florida. Did you hear about this? We're not talking about Australia. We're talking about Florida banning kids under 14 from using social media. Now, I missed this completely. I did not realize this was happening. This is Ron DeSantis who is signing this. And we've talked about the ban in Australia that under 16, I think in Australia, you're going to be banned from social media. Now, whether or not they're able to uphold that's a whole nother issue. I don't think it's going to be something that the state is going to be able to really uphold. But it is interesting that so many governments now are banning social media for young people, because I'm going to be honest, I think it is. Normally, I'm not for that, but I think in some cases, social media is not healthy for young people, especially. And we're going to talk a little bit about TikTok too. That one, I think, is the primary culprit now for a lot of the weirdness, the high strangeness going on in society. I sound like I'm like, ban that rock and roll, ban that rock and roll. Anyway, we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Go out to clownfishminus.com. We've got lots of products. Look at all the products we got there. Clownfishminus.com. We also have exclusive content you can check out, and you can go out to clownfishtv.locals.com and check out more exclusive content. This has come from Deserto. Florida governor signs bill to ban kids under 14 from social media. So Ron DeSantis has signed a bill banning kids under 14 from creating a social media account, forcing platforms to delete them if they exist. Now, I always thought it was like you had to be 13 to get on the ride, and that was a relatively recent thing, I think. Wasn't that around the time of the apocalypse? You had to, like, hey, you're under 13, you can't join Facebook or whatever. But kids are going to do it anyway, or they're going to use their parents' account. Children's safety on social media has been a huge concern over the last few years, with several states throwing around the idea of requiring strong age verification and parental controls. Ron DeSantis made it happen, having signed a bill on March 25th, 2024. Again, I missed this. Somehow I missed all of this. Effectively bans kids 15 years old and younger from social media. It states children that are 14 and 15 must have parental consent in order to create accounts on websites like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So this takes place on January 1st. The law says that platforms must terminate these accounts should the teen or their parents request it to be removed from the site. If they don't, companies can be sued on the kid's behalf, may be liable for up to $10,000 in damages each. So I can see this being misused. I can see class action lawsuits. I can see, okay. A social media platform shall prohibit a minor who is 14 or 15 years of age from entering into a contract with a social media platform to become an account holder unless the minor's parents or guardian provides consent for the minor to become an account holder, it reads. So if you're under 14, the law requires the likes of Twitter and Meta to delete the account and create protections that prevent them from being created again until they're older. How? IP ban? Email ban? How? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? Seriously, how are you going to enforce this? I'm just saying. That's going to be a really hard one to enforce. Nearly all social media platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and TikTok, have minimum age requirements of 13. Now this bill has been signed. Kids in Florida are going to have to wait till they're 14 to join social media with parental consent, or 16 without. I think in some ways social media might be more dangerous than driving a car. I mean, it depends. It depends. So that's the thing that's going on in Florida. So here is more. This is coming from, where is this at? WCTV, Eyewitness News, trusted news. They said that they're trying to help parents navigate this very difficult terrain with raising kids, said Governor Ron DeSantis. Florida State University education professor Vanessa Denon said there does come a point where kids need to integrate social media. We still have to deal with what happens when people are finally old enough to access it, and that's all about learning. So they don't know what to do. So they're going to sign us in the law, and they don't know what to do or how they're going to keep kids off of it. Like, it's going to be really interesting if we have a bunch of 14-year-olds get banned from social media and then like 2 years they sue the state or something because they can't sign up for Facebook. I don't know. A hearing in federal court over this law is scheduled for February 28th. I should have scheduled it for like February 29th, just to mess with them. Several other states passed similar laws, but were struck down in court. Federal law doesn't allow kids under 13 to have social media. I don't know. That's gonna be a tough one to enforce. So the big offender here, in my opinion, is TikTok. And TikTok, as far as I know, is staring down the barrel of a ban. I guess if you can shoot a ban out of a barrel, that's looking down the barrel of the ban gun, as opposed to the ban hammer. And, we're talking, a couple weeks, like less than a month? No, it's a little over a month. I guess I kept thinking it was January 9th, but it's 19th, right before Trump takes office again. And unless they find a buyer, they're going to ban TikTok. And people didn't think it was going to happen. It looks like it's totally going to happen because the courts upheld the ruling. Well, let's come from the information. There's a billionaire out there who wants to buy TikTok. I'm sure multiple billionaires would love to buy TikTok because it's making a lot of ad revenue. So earlier this year, billionaire Frank McCourt hosted a dinner in Malibu with more than a dozen TikTok creators to tell them about his proposal to buy TikTok. The aim of the dinner was to feel out with creators whether the bid was on the right track. We want to eventually Green Bay Packer this thing, he added, referring to the sole NFL team in the league that's owned by the fans. Eventually, the creators should own a piece of the platform. That's interesting. They're the ones creating the value and driving the interest, and I think they deserve to be owners. McCourt, through his entity that researches and advocates on internet issues, Project Liberty, has been talking up a deal for TikTok for months. In May, Project Liberty said it was putting together a consortium to try to acquire the app. He's not interested in TikTok's powerful recommendation algorithm. He wants to create a decentralized version of the app where users control their own data. That is also interesting. Project Liberty and last week said that it had informal commitments of $20 billion for a TikTok deal. McCourt said they've held discussions with some of ByteDance's American investors, major private equity firms, large endowments and foundations, as well as individuals, but wouldn't give specifics. 2020, when TikTok was under a threat of a ban, several major companies, including Walmart and Microsoft, were interested in acquiring TikTok. A few buyers have emerged this go-around. I don't think Elon has the money for this one, but who knows? A major issue for anyone trying to acquire it, parent company ByteDance has publicly said it doesn't want to sell the app, and even if it did, it's not going to sell with its algorithm, which makes the app so popular and addicting. So what's interesting about the American version of TikTok, again, going back to the beginning of the video, is that it is addicting. It was designed to be addicting. And it's like catnip for kids, for teens. There's a reason they spend so much time on it. And that was well researched. In fact, there are studies out there talking about how ByteDance wanted to create an addictive app because people, again, they spend more time on it. They engage more with it. They make more money. At the end of the day, it's about making money. But in the case of TikTok, a lot of people think that there's something a little more insidious going on with the American version of TikTok, where it is actually being used to kind of erode and corrode traditional American values because of the content that is being recommended predominantly to young people. So I mean, I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't really shed a tear if TikTok got banned because I think it is ground zero for a lot of the weirdness going on. But as someone who also advocates for free speech, I can't really say, hey, it shouldn't exist because I don't like it, right? I think parents need to be watching their kids and watching what they're consuming and not just like handing them the iPhone or the iPad and saying, here you go, watch whatever weird ass shit you want to watch. I don't care. I'm not going to pay any attention to you. I'm going to go watch my weird ass shit on my phone, and you go over there and watch all this crazy stuff and have your head pumped full of nonsense and get infected with a woke mind virus or whatever the hell is going on. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can pull this one out. But I think this ban is really about TikTok. I think it's about TikTok. That is probably the app that has the most influence right now with young people. I can't think of too many young people that are using Facebook. They're using Instagram, but they're not using Facebook. Nobody's using Facebook. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.